Thank you. Everything. I appreciate it. Coleman. So, the Floyd County Board of Supervisors will conduct a public hearing on Tuesday, September 14th, 2021 at 9:30 a.m. or soon thereafter to discuss the first half of funding $1,529,529.50 allotted to Floyd County through the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Said public hearing will be conducted at the Floyd County Administration Building, 120 West Oxford Street, Floyd, Virginia 24091. The meeting will be streamed live via internet. All interested citizens are invited to attend in person, by phone, or provide written comment prior to the meeting. Any Floyd County citizen wishing to speak by phone may call County Administration at 540-745-9300 by 4 p.m. on Monday, September 13th, 2021, and provide their telephone number and express their desire to provide comment by phone. Citizens who desire to provide public comment by phone will be called during the meeting. Any Floyd citizen can also provide written comment prior to the meeting, and those comments will be provided to the Board of Supervisors and entered into the official minutes of the meeting and summarized by the chair designee at the meeting for the benefit of the public. Written comments will be accepted until 4 p.m. on Friday, September 10th, 2021, as presented to the County Administrator, P.O. Box 218, Floyd, Virginia 24091, or to C. Ryan at floydcova.org by the order of the Floyd County Board of Supervisors. Attest, Linda Millsaps, County Administrator.
Thank you. So, first, just a massive problem got it up. Our first speaker will be Bruce, if you want to come back.
I don't know if y'all can hear me with my mask on. I'm going to keep it on. So, but I'm Bruce Turner. I'm chairman of the Floyd County PSA, which is the Public Service Board, the Public Service Authority, with deal with the water and sewer for the town of Floyd and parts of the county. And I just want to thank you all for the opportunity to come before you and request funding. It's kind of a 2 or 3 part thing. My part is just want to kind of tell you.
Hold on a minute, Bruce, I don't think your mic's working.
Doesn't sound like it's on.
No. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, he just got me.
Maybe I need some close.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's loud now. Yes.
Treat it like, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and put him mask on. We won't stand on it.
Again, I'm Bruce Stern with the Floyd County PSA Authority. We oversee the water for the town of Floyd and parts of the county. And just want to thank you all for the opportunity to come before you and request some funding if possible. Our part is kind of like 2, maybe 3 parts. My part is just going to kind of tell you how we got where we're at, and then I think Mike Messalani is going to come with you with the details of what we're looking at, and then Will Griffin, he'll come and do the, I guess, kind of the roundup, so to speak. But as we know that the Water Authority was formed several years ago by the County of Floyd and the town of Floyd to oversee the water service for the town and the county. And over the years, there's been things that have been done to kind of repair, replace along the years, but we don't really have that many customers on the line, so it's been difficult. We have raised rates several times in the past, and the last rate increase we had was last year. We're looking at another rate increase in within the next year, I'm sure. There's a lot needs to be done. We don't really have the funds that we would like to have to do what all needs to be done. Like I say, we do have an antiquated system, and so there's a lot to be done. We are vigorously looking for grants from whatever authorities, federal, state, local, whatever we can find that we can apply for to kind of help us with our system. So as I say, I'm going to turn it over to Mike, and he's going to kind of let you know what we're looking at, what we're requesting. And again, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to come before you, and we appreciate you all's consideration when you're making your awards. I know it's difficult, being on town council. I know everybody wants money. We know that, and so we're not asking for all of it, maybe just 99.9%. But I know that every organization in here is very important. It's a vital part of the town and county. So, but again, just thank you all for the opportunity.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce. As you see our application before you, the PSA has two budgets, really. We have the expense budget, which covers basically the operations of our business, and then we have the capital improvements or capital repair budget that I like to refer to it. Over the years, we have 6 projects that are in the capital repair pot, and they have been waiting for funding for anywhere from 1 to 5 years. These are all projects that are essential to keeping our system working correctly and smoothly, and we consider them all public safety and health issues. So, of these 6 projects, we split them into 2 and 4. We know that there's going to be 2 rounds of funding for the grant, so we decided to take the 2 most urgent requests and put them into this initial funding application, which you have before you, which is called the urgent grant application. And we put the other 4 in the second round application. Not that they're any less urgent, but we need to get moving on these right away, because some of them are long-term projects, 1 to 2 years, and the longer we wait, the greater the risk is going to be to our community. So with the urgent grant application, the 2 projects are the Well 6 improvements and the sewer lining issues with the main pump station on Barberry. For Well 6 is the biggest producing well in our system. It produces 2.5 times as much water as the rest of any other well in our system. We have 5 wells, only 3 of which are working right now. Well 6 produces most of that when it is working. It has a problem with sulfur, iron, and manganese infiltration, so we can only run it in a minimal amount of time. Improvements we need to do to it are going to be extensive. We have to put in what's called a green sink filter, and we have to expand the building in order to accommodate it, as well as put a lot of pipes under the ground and a lot of other plumbing associated with it. That's why the cost is high, and we need to get started on it right away. This pump is really the main pump in our whole system. If we were running really kind of skinny, if you will, typically our capacity for pumping water has been about 271,000 gallons a day. We are now down to 115,000 gallons a day, and our typical usage is about 100,000 gallons. So you can see that if we have a major break somewhere, there's a real possibility that we could be on water shortages, or we could run our tanks down. And if we run our tanks down, then everybody's going to be out of water, not for a couple hours, but for a couple of days, because we have to re-chlorinate the whole system. So, we're a very tightly controlled utility. Everything has consequences, so if you don't really pay attention to what's going on, it'll cost a lot more to fix later on rather than fix things right now. Okay. As far as the sewer lining goes, on Main Street we just spent $1.5 million on the new pump station on Barberry a couple of years ago, as well as lining the line from the stoplight all the way down to our processing plant. And it's been working well, except once we got that done, we found out that every time it rained, it was filling up our brand new pump station, and in some cases overflowing it, which is a major issue, not only for us, but for the county and everybody else, the liability issue whenever you have that situation. We did a smoke test on the main line. Some of you may remember it was last fall, and we found out that there's a lot of smoke coming out of the storm drains right along 221 because the sewer line runs right under it. We ran a camera up there and we found out that the pipe is cracked in several locations. So whenever we get a big downpour, the water comes down from the stoplight, runs into the drop inlets, comes over, goes into our sewer, comes all the way down to the gas station there where it cuts over into the back of the trailer park and into the main pumping station, which is a big, big no-no. I mean, it jumps our processing water from, which is typically about 150,000 gallons a day, up to as much as 900,000 gallons in a big downpour. So you can see we're really in a precarious situation with respect to that. Now, we did have an issue with the elementary school, but luckily we found out what that was. We did several smoke tests there. The school system was excellent at attacking the problem. We got the roof drains, which were running directly into our system as well, rerouted, and now they're going to a different location, and we're already seeing some of the effects of that. But we're still worried about what's going to happen at 221. The good news about the 221 lining is that we can piggyback off a contract that Roanoke has for a lining company, because they're going to be doing a lot of lining down there over the next year, and there's a cooperative agreement set up with respect to them to where we don't have to go out for a bidding process, and we can leverage their purchasing power to as well as work between the schedule to get that done. So those are the two essential projects. They're both really a matter of public health and safety. We need to address them rapidly. Sorry it's so much money, but I always say every time we dig a hole in this town or county for the PSA, it seems to cost $100,000 at least. You know, it's just, it's getting more expensive for all the parts, it's getting more expensive for labor, and you know, you're digging up somebody's yard or the street or something else, and but it's something we got to live with. We have a very old system put in place, about 70 years old, and it's getting older every day, and these are the immediate projects that we have right now, but I'm sure it's not going to be the last of what we're going to need moving forward. So we would appreciate your help and consideration on these, and I'll talk about the second round when we get there. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you very much.
Bill Griffin, service the mayor of the town of Floyd and also the vice chair of Floyd County PSA. To reiterate what Bruce says, thanks for the opportunity to let us come before you and ask for some funds. And you know, it's too bad we got to come here for a handout, but if you read into this stuff, what we found out from the Regional Commission and other water authorities is you need a customer base of about 3,000 customers to be able to operate the PSA efficiently. We're at 550. So it's really hard for us to make up ground through rate increases when something like what we have in front of us now is there. So that's what kind of what's brought us here to this point to ask for the funding. Just give you another, you know, kind of a background thing, but as you can tell, Mike knows this stuff. It's so good to have an engineer on a board like this, and we're also blessed that we have Trent Cox with us, and Trent does this exact same job down in Roanoke. So the board is very knowledgeable, and I don't have any knowledge about it, and I don't know if Linda and Jerry can claim to. I don't have any knowledge on it, so we depend on them a lot for what they've done, and they're fantastic for us. From the town's perspective, our share of the ARPA funds was about $452,000, I think, so we got around to 226, and the goal of the council is to put as much money as we can into the PSA to help with overruns for anything on this project that maybe you guys can't cover. So I know it's a joint thing, and if the town could do more, we would do more, but you know, our funding is fairly tight. So Anyway, again, appreciate everything you guys do, and the consideration you guys will give to this request is greatly appreciated and very much needed. So I've got some letters of support from each member of the board has signed that. I'll just give them to you guys and you can pass them around. But again, thanks for your time.
I do have an additional sheet to provide to everyone, just to go with the little packet that you've already been provided.
You all should have a purple folder from her in addition to what's in the packet. If not, then I think I actually have Joe's mistake, so if you don't have mine. There you go. That was.
So we don't know where yours is?
I know what it says. It's the same as you put it up. Yeah, that's the extra one. Thank you. It's the same as is in the packet,
Yeah.
except for what she's just giving me.
Can everyone hear me okay? Or do you want me to turn it down?
There you
now?
go.
Okay. Good morning, board members and county administration. My name is Nikki King. I'm the clerk of the combined court. I first want to thank you for your time today. Each of you should have been provided with a folder of information before today's meeting. And then I just added the additional sheet to everyone. As you all know, this pandemic has and is still taking a toll on everyone in their own way. The board that had the foresight to recognize this in March of 2020 when they issued the local declaration of emergency. As you've read in your packet, the Supreme Court has issued 27 orders which have changed multiple things that the court handles. Just to name a few, there's been modified court dates, talk of cases, changes in civil filings that were allowed. The cases that were still held were emergency situations that were to protect the children and the victims of Floyd County, but also to give due justice to whomever the allegations were against. Although this may seem to have been less work, it was actually more work to set things over on a day-to-day basis. And as these orders were changed, extended, so that caused more work to find agreeable dates for multiple parties. And we were also making sure to adapt to the changes in the orders. The first grant would be the one asking the county to supplement our salaries with these funds as hazard duty pay, as we were essential workers throughout this whole entire process and still are. On attachment 1, I've done a little table of the calculation. I just did the hours worked times $4 to get the total that would be requested. The second one is for repairs to the office. I felt the county could use the grant funds to complete these repairs based on the infection control aspect, which would in turn save the county money. The pictures are in the back of your packet. I'm not sure if anyone has any questions about those, or I've tried to kind of explain where they're at in the office. Some of you may be familiar with the layout. In closing, it may seem like I'm asking for a lot, but I would encourage each of you to come by on a day when court's in session to further understand the need and/or ask that we're here to ask for today. I'd like to thank you again for your time, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have or come back to other meetings if needed. Thank you.
And again, while he's coming up, the information in the purple packet is exactly the same as what I emailed to you, with the exception of what Nikki handed out with me.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. Leon Moore, I'm a retired individual in the county, a citizen of the county. I've worked to Herman's district. The comments I've got this morning come from several different people in the county that I know, and they're representative of every person that serves on this board. Because I talked to a lot of people, and they have asked me to come today because they either can't or they're afraid to. And I've talked to individuals in every one of your districts. The first thing I'd like to do is to say that Mr. Coleman, certainly sorry to see you leave the board. I appreciate your help and I appreciate your time. I know it's a dedicated person to serve in law enforcement and then your board of supervisors also. Of course, most of you know me because I've been here on quite a few occasions. But the comments I've got this morning come from the heart, and from the heart from a lot of people in the county. And I come this morning because of a disturbing article I saw in the Floyd Press and the Roanoke Times. And that's the fact that our law enforcement and our emergency people are underpaid. They're not being adequately compensated for the time and the effort that they put in and the risk that they take every day. Now, this did not come from any of those people. This comes from Leon Moore and other people in the county. And I understand that because I have relatives that's in law enforcement, have been for years. So I understand where they come from. I have relatives that are in the healthcare industry. So I understand when they talk about COVID. I understand when they talk about going out and picking up somebody on the highway that has had an accident that they know they're not going to make it, but they do the best they can anyway. And I don't come to you this morning with an amount. I'm coming to you this morning asking our chairman to appoint a committee or appoint groups of the board to sit down and look at providing bonuses out of these funds, which you can because other counties have, providing bonus to our law enforcement, our 911 operators, our rescue people, and any other individual that puts their life on the line every day. And I know they do. There's a lot of worthwhile projects that people are going to ask for. But the one thing that the President of the United States and the Chairman of the Board of Supervisors is tasked with, and that is providing safety and security for all members of their district, of the United States of America, and their counties. And by having a well-compensated emergency staff, police force, that is one of the prime things that this board and the administrator is responsible for. I've been in this county now since 1988. I see a lot of changes. And I want to assure you, from people that I talk to, Washington, Richmond, on down, things in Floyd County are going to change. And we're going to need the people like that gentleman sitting there and our sheriff. And none of them has asked me to be here today. I come from Leon Moore and other residents of the county. So I want you to look at this thing and be very aware of what these people do and provide some compensation for them until we can keep them and keep them on the job and help the people in this county. And that's basically what I've got to say this morning, and I thank each of you for being here and the time that you spend, because it is a very thankless job for the amount of money you make. Thank you very much.
I shouldn't go here, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's been burning me up since last night. I tuned into the school board meeting for a little bit. I think it's a disgrace when they sit there and call the deputies that was there mass Nazis. People comes in here wanting us to fund these people, but when they get called names, and I've been there, I know. I think it's a disgrace for the citizens to do that. I really do. And I'll shut up real quick before we get started. So, that's it. So.
Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today regarding the local county grant program under the American Rescue Plan. I'm Nancy Tone, the Executive Director at Plenty. We submitted a proposal outlining the ongoing impacts of COVID-19 to our operations and our patrons. Our proposal outlines 3 initiatives that fall within the area of responding to public health needs and economic damage from the pandemic, and specifically responding to economic harms to workers, families, and nonprofits. Plenty is a reliable, ongoing source of food for those experiencing food insecurity in Floyd County. We grow, purchase, and receive donations on average of 5,000 pounds per week. Yes, that's right. This is a high-touch, labor-intensive process to gather, inspect, sort, store, and pack food be distributed door to door, and also through our drive-through pantry service at our facility. We also support the needs of other community nonprofits as abundant inventory allows. Plenty is unique in that we can grow and receive large amounts of fresh produce and other perishables. This is largely possible due to previous support from the county via the CARES Act to significantly increase Plenty's cold storage capabilities in 2020. The perishable nature and temperature control needs of our food require a high degree of training and responsiveness to our operations. Our focus on fresh foods and vegetables makes Plenty a meaningful contributor to improving the health of Floyd County residents. Volunteers donate thousands of work hours annually, which is responsible for most of the work needed to gather, process, repackage, pack, deliver, and serve drive-through pantry. During 2020 and 2021, 60 volunteers a week served 1,450 individuals each week, including 370 children. This represents 9% of Floyd County residents. Volunteer work hours have dropped 18% year-to-date in 2021 compared to the same period in 2020. Interruptions in daily lives of Floyd County residents are impacting their food security and their ability to volunteer. The loss of volunteer hours and ongoing demand for services has the effect of doubling the impact of COVID-19 for Plenty. On one hand, we must continue to operate, and on the other hand, available staffing continues to be a big challenge. At the start of the pandemic, Plenty adopted recommended COVID-19 safety protocols and re-engineered pantry service from a choice shopping experience to a pre-packed drive-through service, largely outdoors. We anticipated that this change would be temporary in nature. However, nearly 2 years later, our staff and volunteers are understanding that the situation is ongoing and will last into the foreseeable future. We have requested funding under ARPA for the implementation of 3 key initiatives that will assure service despite the ongoing COVID-19 impacts and disruptions. The goals of the 3 initiatives are to backfill the ongoing volunteer work hours gap, to streamline operations, to increase our ability to distribute more resources to community partners, and to adapt our facility for the outdoor operation of our drive-through pantry, which is made necessary by COVID-19. I thank you for your consideration of our proposal, and we are available to answer any questions as they arise as you evaluate all these proposals, all these important initiatives. Thank you.
Well,
I'm Bob Smith from Indian Valley. I'm going to speak in 2 capacities today. First as an individual, and I cannot come anywhere close to approaching the eloquence of Mr. Moore. I'm also here on behalf of the electoral board, as one of the other basic functions of government is to ensure that the voting process is handled efficiently and fairly in all aspects. And we have been mandated from Richmond to make lots and lots of changes and improvements to our cybersecurity systems, and we appreciate your consideration of that as well. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Lang. I'm the Tourism Director for Floyd. And thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. I just wanted to ask that you keep in mind Shop Floyd BA for the request for funds. I haven't submitted the grant request to you yet. I have to have it to you by the end of this week. Shop Floyd BA, for your information, is a e-commerce based website. It's sister website to our Visit Floyd BA website that is for visitors and tourism. It was created last fall, right before the holiday season, with the mindset of helping businesses through the hardships of COVID. Funds from the ARPA fund was actually used to create the website, as well as marketing through the holiday season and IT support for businesses. Businesses on the website are allowed to have a listing, photos of their products, information about their business, as well as links to their shops where people can go buy things. As a result of your investment, we had over $100,000 revenue just for that holiday season. This request will be more IT support, as I've reached out to a lot of businesses to kind of get their feedback to see how we can help improve the Shop Floyd VA website to increase that revenue again during this holiday season. So the IT support will go towards updating the website, as well as helping businesses that haven't been on the website get on the website. So we're going to have more businesses. At the time, we have about 80 businesses, which includes retail, farms, artisans, and even restaurants, because it allows them to save their curbside service. Requests will also include funds for marketing support. We hope to have the marketing go throughout this holiday season coming out very soon. Also into the next year, hopefully through Valentine's Day. So hopefully we have more revenue than just the $100,000 that we received last year. So please keep in mind Shop Floyd VA, and I hope to have the request to you by the end of this week. Thank you.
Rick Harris.
Hello, and thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Rick Parrish. I'm a resident of the town of Floyd, and I'm a good bit of property in the county as well. In the interest of full disclosure, I do sit on the Public Service Authority, although I am here as a citizen, albeit with a little extra knowledge afforded me by sitting on the Public Service Authority. As been stated before, parts of our system are over 70 years old, and most of you are well aware that we've had multiple failures attributable to that problem. But I wasn't here for all of Bruce's presentation, but I do know, as a result of sitting on the board, that there are individuals and developers waiting to hear, waiting with millions of dollars of investment to make in this county, to hear if the PSA has capacity to handle their needs. And just like good law enforcement and good schools, we need a good infrastructure to attract businesses and housing developers, and all of these companies are going to be looking at those things, including our ability to provide the water and sewer that they need without interruptions. It's worth saying that these projects proposed modestly by the Public Service Authority, although the numbers are large, they are the epitome of what these funds are allegedly designed to be used for. So I would hope that you will give this careful consideration as it affects the future of our county, the future of all of our residents, all of our government and non-government and nonprofit agencies, and that all of the other organizations that need some of these funds would definitely be affected by the PSA's ability to provide those services, and as they reach out into the edges beyond the town, and that's critical to development and keeping development close into the population centers. We don't want it just spreading willy-nilly across the county. I know most of you feel the same way about that. But please give careful consideration to the future of our county and the needs of the Public Service Authority. Thank you very much.
That was everyone that was signed up. Is there anyone else that was?
We received one that I think Linda was going to read up. And I have it printed.
If I might as well, we were also going to get, and I feel, that's why I was looking for the list. We failed to put Medina Martin on the list as well, so she's coming up. Okay.
Unless you have any questions for her.
No, just what's in the.
It's in the packet from Medina. Okay, thank you.
All right, so I received, and so did Dr. Millsap, or Cindy, and Dr. Millsap's also was sent this. This is from Kamal Bowers, and she is a resident of the Little River District. She said, my husband and I also own several business properties in and around the town of Floyd. I can attest to the need for repair, upgrade, and expansion of the Public Service Authority. Creating a property suitable for an important new business in Floyd was close to impossible and ultimately very expensive for us due to the limitations of our current PSA system. The presence of a fully operational public water and sewer system is foundational to business development. I request the Board of Supervisors invest in the PSA now with the available funds from the American Rescue Plan, and most important, create a plan for the PSA that includes location and inspection of the current system. This plan should look to potential future business and residential development. Additional infrastructure funds are likely to be coming soon with the passage of the Congressional Infrastructure Plan. It would serve Floyd well to be prepared for these funds with the creation of a shovel-ready plan. As you know, plans like these are expensive and they require extensive design and engineering work. There is no way that a community the size of Floyd can make the necessary upgrades to our PSA without state and federal funds in addition to local support. An important role of our local government representatives is to plan and advocate for the basic needs of the community. It will also be important to make known and request help of our state and federal representatives. Again, I request the Board of Supervisors look to the future of Floyd and spend a large portion of the American Rescue Plan that the county has received on a long-term investment that will serve us now and for future generations, the PSA. She says, thank you for all you do for the Floyd community, and it was addressed to the honorable members of the Floyd County Board of Supervisors. That was read into the record.
You say your Dana?
She can come if you would like her to. Okay.
Sorry for the confusion this morning. Thanks for giving me a moment to share. As you know, Floyd County is served by Citizens Telephone Cooperative in terms of fiber optic infrastructure. They have currently been able to extend fiber to about 60% of the county, but there will be areas that they are not able to reach by themselves because of the how spread out the houses are and how expensive it is to extend the fiber. We have been working with them on a grant application to the state from their Virginia Telecom Initiative fund. We have prepared an application to them for just over $1.3 million. Citizens would match that by over $1 million. The grant requirement says there needs to be local ARPA funds in there to make it be competitive. So this is potentially over a $2 million project that would extend fiber to the last 3% of the roads, the public roads in Floyd County. It would also help people on long driveways. There are certain income eligibilities from the grant requirements, but in total, it would help 722 households if the grant is fully funded. And as you know, that connection to fiber has become a lifeline, not quite on the order of water per se, but a lifeline of economy, access to healthcare, and opportunity to start or grow a business, opportunity for education and training. It's really become kind of the modern telephone, electricity, utility for our time. So thank you for your consideration. If you have any questions, of course, please let me know.
I think that's all we had signed up. Anyone else? Thank you for everybody's input. I don't see that now. It's going to be a hassle, that's for sure, but we do appreciate everybody's input, and it really helps out when you know people's needs when you're doing something like this. So, with that, I guess I will close the public hearing. Now, welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you want.
Yeah. I saw that. Good luck. Thank you very much.
Simon says I've enjoyed as much of this as I can stand.
Looks like it.
Thanks for having me. Want to come back?
Colonel, come see me sometime.
Yeah, I will. Retirement is so hard.
Thank you.
See y'all, thank you.
David, we used part of your time, but we'll give it back to you if you want.
That was Lauren's part.
That's funny.
How about that?
Ready? Well, good morning.
Morning.
A few updates on construction activities first, and then I'll get into some of the maintenance things that we've been working on. Of course, the project this year for, better, thank you. On the 6-year plan was Roger Road, and that is complete now. The next one on the list is Ponderosa, and after that, Firehouse. We are still working through some right-of-way donations on each of those, and I'll keep you updated on that, but hopefully we'll have one of those ready for construction next year. I do have the updated allocations for in the next 6 years. So this is allocations for FY22, which we're in through 27. The estimates get a little bit shakier as you get towards the end of those last 2 years, but right now it's showing $579,000 in allocations for FY22. Most of that has to go to unpaved roads. We have some other about almost 48,000 available for other type of construction things. We generally tend to go ahead and lump that in with the unpaved road, just so we can get those. There's never enough to do a whole lot on the non-unpaved roads, but it helps us get those other projects out a little quicker. So I've got that, and I'm going to give this to the county administrator. I've signed a copy. I signed 2 copies.
All right,
You
good.
sign both of those. You can have one, and I'll take the other one back and send it to Richmond, because they like to have a copy of those.
Could we have a copy of that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Thanks for bringing that.
And of course, the priority list is what you all passed, not the one I just read off the first 3 items. This is not really a construction project, but it kind of looks like one. You may have noticed that we're closing Route 769 Reed Lane for about 3 weeks between Merrifield and Firehouse for a low water bridge
replacement. That's
Appreciate that. I know y'all working on that.
yeah, they should have started that this week, and it's supposed. They say 3 weeks. Hopefully, we'll be done before October 1st. But that's the date, and that date is a hard date because that's our we can't do any work in the stream after October 1. For some maintenance items, it's been a lot of other than various storms. We didn't quite get hit from the hurricanes. We thought they had some tornadoes touch down in Montgomery County.
Yeah.
Which was, oddly enough, did not do any road damage. It did some personal property damage. But I happened to be in Floyd that evening and kept getting calls on my phone. I said, "It's just kind of raining over here."
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
But anyway, then we had, even if they don't have a name, sometimes we get storms with debris down. We've been doing some cleaning on that, and then just regular gravel road pothole patching on Bethlehem Church, some on Gallimore, some on Christiansburg Pike, 615. Shoulder work, not enough, but we started some shoulder work on Route 8, some on Shooting Creek, some on Franklin Pike. Did get the mow trim and the brush cutter out on Daniels Run and King's Store, some on Kennedy School Road. Thank you. And just trying to catch some of that brush and some ditching. Did replace a pipe on Lake Ridge. And just some other various things we're trying to catch up on. I think most of the overlay schedule in Floyd is finished. So we don't have any more of that to worry about. And that will cover our maintenance update too. Because as you can see, now you all have copies, and I appreciate you making copies for everybody there. So those last 2 years have shown quite a bit more than the first year. I wouldn't put much stock in that number in those last 2 years. The last 2 years are showing $989,000 allocation versus the $579 for this year. I would expect it to be a bit more in the line of the 500 rather than the 900.
Well,
I know.
that's disappointing.
We'll see.
I'm saying you're going to get a double ice cream cone
I know.
and only get one scoop.
Anyway.
Yeah, seriously, we get the code.
That's the items that we've been working on, but I'll take any other board requests. If I haven't mentioned it, it's stuff we're still working on. I know we've got several things lined up, especially traffic engineering type things. The four-way stop at Franklin Pike and Shooting Creek is being worked on. That's going to require just a matter of putting up a couple stop signs, but the public information outreach is going to take a little. We want to make sure people who don't currently have to stop realize that they're going to have to stop.
With that segue, like it when it goes like that. So yeah, let's talk about our four-way stop. There definitely needs to be. I mean, I would love to see some really important. I mean, I sit sometimes and watch that intersection, and people just blow right through the stop sign, like right now.
Yeah.
So. I would like to see a very assertive, let's call it, an assertive campaign to make sure that people understand that there is a four-way stop, whether it be some of those lighted signs or anything like that to bring attention to it. And it's also been discussed that coming from the, I guess that's the east side, or the north side, coming from 221, heading down towards the parkway, there's a little kind of rise. If after or before, it would be better if we could maybe cut that rise somehow without creating too much work. I love when he laughs like that.
It almost be easy to relocate the residents.
Or strips, rubble strips.
Yeah.
Bump strips,
Bump
I
strips.
rumble bump.
I mean, like really good ones that aren't gonna just go away.
Or continuous flashing
They all end up
lights,
going away.
whatever works.
They'll end up being, snow plows terrible.
Yeah, right. Well, then the flashing
Flashing
lights on
lights.
both sides. It's just gonna be really important because people get in that, Shooting Creek is, I mean, I don't know what it is about that road, maybe it's its history. But they come off 221 and they come down and there's a couple of curves around Sandy Flats and stuff that slow people down. And then there's that part where they can start going, I mean, they think they're in a toboggan or something like that. So any way that we can start the process of slowing them down before the stop sign. The issue is that there are a lot of tractor trailers right in there now, and it could be, I mean, this stop sign, the four-way, is going to be very, very important. But whatever you have in your bag of tools that can really bring this to the forefront, the whole idea of this is to save somebody's life.
Right.
We haven't lost anybody there yet, and I just want to make it's come awful close on a couple of occasions. And so we want to make sure that we never do. I have a gentleman who has contacted me. There's a lot of ash and maples that are dying in our region due to various activity, and there's one at 2012, it's just gone away from me now, 2012, and I will forward this to you, David, 2012 Stonewall, and it is a large maple, and if it will fall soon, and it'll fall right into the road, and you're going to have to come out and deal with it anyway. So 2012 Stonewall, it is in the VDOT road right-of-way, and it is a large dead maple tree. And I'll send you the pictures. And other than that, I don't think there's very much else. Again, thank you so much for all of the work that everybody is doing on all the roadways and the mowing. Appreciate that very much. And I know it's been really hard kind of competing with all of the line laying that's been going on, so I just really appreciate everybody's patience and their hard work here on our local staff. Thank you.
You mentioned it. I want to thank you for fixing the potholes on Gallimore Lane. I'm sure the people down there appreciate it. I'm going to start with potholes. Long Branch, Route 719 by Slaughters on this end. I haven't got there, but I've been told there are terrible potholes there, that they're a major danger to motorcyclists. If we could get someone at least to go take a look at it and get it on the schedule.
It'll jar your teeth.
It'll jar your teeth, yeah.
Also, I know you don't get to do this much, but when it does rain, you've been machining roads, so that's good. But I had one or two that have came back and said that put in a request to you when I saw you, so I'm going to do it. They're grateful for the machining of the roads, but would they please go back and clean the ditches out when they get done? And I didn't know if it was the same crew, if you have another crew that comes behind the machines, but basically there's one or two roads I know of where they have filled the ditches up, and some of the property owners got out there with plows trying to open it back up, which is not a good thing.
Right.
But if they could, very grateful for the machining, just want the ditches opened up. Of course, you know some of my other list of stuff that we're always talking about that's unfortunately guardrails and various stuff. You mentioned you were working on some of the shoulders on Route 8, and that's grateful. The safety money and the crosswalk in town. You said when you told me whenever they gave you a number on the safety money, then you would have some idea of the schedule on that project. Have they released that to you yet?
Yeah, they're expecting that this month, though.
They are expecting it this month, so so next month I can start telling people, all right, money's come in, this is when it's slated to?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. And just want to appreciate all the work that the workers are doing, and, any pressure you can bring on Richmond to let you have more workers and hire replacements. And if we can help with that, please let us know. If we need to draft a letter and send it.
I say we need to draft your letter.
You know, it's hard to maintain something when you don't have the bodies to do it. It's bad enough when you don't have the money, but when you don't have the bodies to do it, it's darn near impossible.
They mandate us, it's mandate them.
Yeah, well, they made a promise.
Yeah.
They, back in the 30s, when they took over all these roads and stuff, some of it was written, but most of it was oral, but they entered in with an oral agreement with the localities for the state to take over maintenance of the roads.
Yeah.
And they agreed to keep them to a certain standard. And I don't think the state, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about Richmond. Richmond's not keeping their word on that.
I went around for that agreement.
You were out of town that day. But it's and the patches they're doing, and when I say patches, as far as funding is great, but right now I'm inclined, before we start adding a bunch more roads in future 6-year plans, we take any new money we got and we do a county-wide project and actually do some fixing on some of the existing roads. And we do have that authority and the funding.
Right.
The Richmond doesn't like it. They don't like admitting it. I don't think Salem wants to even get in the mix, and I'm sure you can't say anything either. But at some point in time, that's what this board's gonna have to do for us to get our secondary roads back up to where they need to be. And it's past due to do it. And I know that's hard when I've got people hollering at me wanting their roads listed, but it comes to a point, I understand the state wanting to have all roads paved, I do, or surfaced, but it's not realistic to do that if we can't keep up what we already have. I'll get off my soapbox. But I do appreciate what you do, sir.
I don't have anything. I appreciate water after they got the lines put on. They've shouldered the roads with some nice gravel. Everything looks good. The things that I requested have already been patched and fixed, so it looks like we're off to some good things. Look forward to the sign placement and working that out with you. I'm sure that's a conversation we need to have at some point.
Yep. Signs are in, we can just have to schedule.
Okay, that sounds great. I appreciate all the work that's been done.
Yeah.
Everything looking good.
I echo what Justin said. I appreciate everything y'all doing with the limited amount of funds and people, but I'm glad Jerry mentioned Laurel Branch because I almost forgot. On Laurel Branch, we come down to, I guess it's West Fork, that crossing there. I mentioned it a while back, and I had a gentleman call me the other day. They said that road is just falling all to pieces right there about the bridge, and they said it's actually getting to be a hazard for coming through there. If you take a look at that,
I'll ride out there after this meeting.
I told him I would ride through there, but I've been sort of covered up. I haven't had a chance to. Then, you know, a lot of roads in my district, I don't know where that washboards come from, but on Reese Road, just as you turn off Sugar Tree, up that hill, that last gully washer we had, ditched that road pretty bad up that hill. And when they resurfaced or surface treatment on it. It was a section of the road from 221 up to next to my house. I appreciate that, because that road was falling apart. But that spreader that spreads the gravel, I was sitting at the end of the driveway when he came off that pavement, and he came up through there, and I guess he had he tried to spread it out. I don't know why, but that turned into washboards, the gravel did, which I don't care because it slows them down from my house, but acts as a speed bump. But a lot of my neighbors are complaining about that, and I've been home to take my blade and just try to work them down, but I haven't had a chance to. So. And back to my old pothole, well, I don't believe it's a pothole, it's that hole keeps showing up on Buffalo Mount Road. There's a log truck comes in out there pretty regular now, and I went through there the other day and I met a truck and dropped the wheel in that hole. I thought I was going to take a ride down through Ricky's field, but it's getting bigger. I know y'all can patch it, and there's no time it falls through again. So, I don't know if culverts decay and the others
They may have it on the scale. They're patching it until they can get a chance to look at it.
Right, yeah. I think that's what they're doing, but I thought about if I could find the cones that were pop it down in there. Also, if you get a chance, I mentioned at your last meeting, I don't know if you've had time to ride over it when they put that new box bridge there at Gardner Road. I really hadn't noticed what people were talking about the other day, and you get it with a trailer, and it's a wow ride going over it. It throws you back and forth and up and down. I don't know it's where they try to blend it in or what, mix something right or what, but it's pretty bumpy going across that thing right now.
We've had some complaints about that. They had agreed to fix it. I don't know if they've already been back to fix it, or maybe they haven't done it yet.
They haven't done it yet.
But they agreed to the construction. The manager for that, they're seeing that road out of sale, and he said, yeah, it's terrible, we need to fix that. So they know about it. I thought they'd already done it. But.
Okay. And this is in, I guess, Jerry's, and I don't know why the guy brought it up to me, because I never had noticed it, but maybe when you leave, you can look at it. But he says when you're coming down the hill out here above food line, you go 25, 35, and then go about 50 feet, and you're in 45. And he wants to know why you got a 50-foot section of 35, or, he said it just doesn't make sense, which to me,
that was done back when, or
yeah,
can I go ahead and interject, David?
Sure.
That was done back when Junior Gold and Bob Easley were the engineers, and it was specifically to slow traffic coming into town.
Right.
Down the hill.
Well, it's the same both directions.
Right.
See, it was to get so that when you got to the Shell station, you're down to the 25 now. I don't have any problem if we need to back it up a little and make it 35 a little longer, but that was the idea behind it.
Right. Okay.
And I think if I may, I think the town of Floyd's interested in extending their 25 zone at least to the town limits out toward the post office.
Yeah.
Then have it 35 from there to the 45 zone. I don't know. Are you coming Thursday or?
Yeah, I'll be there.
All right, I'll be there too, so I'm sure we'll hear that. And I know they're talking about that. But that's the history behind that. The whole idea. And I know it's kind of. I know it seems like a long 45, but with all that stuff down through there, it felt like it.
Right. Yeah.
And then at some point, you could bring that 35 back around the curve there to Duncan's driveway or to the, right before you get to the or just past the laundromat.
Right,
You could bring it around, but,
agreed.
you know, if it needed to extend it a little bit, I'll defer to David on that, but that's the history behind, that's why it was done, because of everything.
I hadn't noticed, you know, that he brought it up to me, and I meant to look at it, but
Yeah.
I was running really late this morning, I couldn't make it
We used to
through.
do that a lot more, step it down like that. I think sometimes now we just go ahead and, instead of having the intermediate, just go ahead and drop it 20 miles an hour, 55 to 35, it's not that bad, you know, 55, 45, 35.
Yeah, he said that, you know, it's just such a short area, he just wondered why it was there. Also, sometime when you're over here and you got, maybe an hour, if you will give me a call or shoot me an email, up on D-Hart, where I got the petition from the people wanting that, paved or whatever. There's one residence, or one just to ride through, and they wanted us to stop and talk to them. And, I told him I would, but I told him it may be a little bit, because, you know, I'm playing a lot of catch up over the 2 months I couldn't do nothing. So my schedule's sort of full.
Yep, I'll get in touch with you.
Okay, yeah, that'd be good. I'll work it around so I can be there. It seemed like there was another song, but I can't remember what it is, but, like I say, I appreciate you doing the bridge there on that, little section of road.
Yeah, that was supposed to be scheduled.
Yeah, I know they asked me again, you know, a while back about it, and I said, well, y'all wire it, you know, get to it when you can, yeah. But, I appreciate it, and I think.
While you're thinking, I thought of one other thing. On 221, I noticed we had, VDOT had trucks out there and they were pumping the curving drains out. Do you know, did they do that on the Route 8 portion too? I just remember seeing them down the 221 side. Could we get somebody back and get them to do the section of Route 8 from the stoplight toward Christiansburg? Because there's some people down in there having some water problems, and I think some of it may be coming from where those things need cleaned out as well. Or if we get them cleaned out, then that eliminates.
I have one thing too.
If we could. I apologize, and like you, I forgot it.
So they've been doing that, I'm not sure which it is, whether it be the fiber or the Facebook, but they are messing with something between Penn Road and Little River Road. And they've been having some issues. And I believe it's because there's a spring there. And it's been there for as long as I can recall too. But what I'm concerned about is, come this winter, if it doesn't get fixed properly, we are going to have some very dangerous situations if we get water and then ice and then that stuff isn't fixed right now. I mean, right now there's just it's great looking dirt. I mean, oh my gosh, the dirt is so dark and black and it's really good looking dirt. But that's going to be a problem.
That's where the water's sitting there.
Yeah.
That's the problem we've been hollering about.
Right.
And now, as soon as, if they ever get out of the way, then it's prime time for y'all to come in here and get that ditch where it completely
and get it so it can drain. I'm just afraid that right now we're at a point where it's going to be really bad.
Prior to them putting the fiber line through there, I know 2 different people that went in there, they had vehicle problems and pulled over to the shoulder there. And they ended up being towed out, and I was told that one rollback backed in there and loaded one up, and then he got stuck, and luckily there was somebody come by with a tractor, and he had a chain, so the tractor pulled him out. So that side of the road's been a problem.
Yes, I know it has, but I'm just saying, it was glaring to me this morning as I came down.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the time that we can do something about it.
Normally the grass covers it, you don't see it.
Correct. And also with this step down with the, do you have to go through all the red tape, rigmarole, or whatever you want to call the bureaucracy to sort of tweak things if they're already there?
Probably not.
Good.
That's what I would guess.
That was my
My
question.
traffic engineer will tell me, but I would think that since the study's been done and it's just a step down, then they could adjust that as they see fit.
Well, I was told years ago, I don't know if it changed, but that people in your position, you could set 25-mile-an-hour speed limits on sections and without having to go through the big rigmarole. But, I know some of that
You
changed.
did, and that has to all be reviewed by a professional engineer and have a professional engineer stamp.
But I'm in favor of this. I don't mind the step down as much. I think they could be extended a little bit. Floyd has gotten a lot busier since it first happened on all 4 inlets into our county. So I know you'll talk more about it on Thursday. So.
Yeah, especially coming north into town. We're going to do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave, I'm sorry. I've heard fiber and it triggered something. So the same crew that was, that marred up our brand new asphalt on White Rock and Copper Valley, so when they come back and, made that line and re-sloped it and seeded it, I noticed, this past Sunday morning, they've done it in a way that now the water is running out into the road, so they put too much back, I guess, and it's not even, so it's a pretty good distance. It's just past Copper Valley, going towards Indian Valley Road. Any time there's any more stringy rain, it's coming right into the road. It looks like they put that, when they put that dirt back, it is right against the line. Now, I don't know if that's because it's a new line that's been painted or what, but that's a problem. So if somebody with more experience than I look at it and see, and maybe you could twist their arm to smooth our asphalt back out a little bit. I don't think it was as bad as I thought it was after I went back there a few times, but it's brand new and they didn't scratch it all up.
Yeah, I guess we all had mental lapses this morning.
One more thing.
You remember what you thought.
There you go.
There you go. See, if I hadn't have done that, you wouldn't have remembered.
There you go. Just close C.W. Harmon's, or on the right, going down the hill. That ditch right there is pretty deep anyhow, where these range is washed out. But since they paved it, it's raised pavement up. And the other day they had a young lady that dropped her wheel off right there and flipped her car. And so John called me and said, can you get something done for that? And I said, well, I'll bring it up. I don't know what the fix is, that's y'all, because the rain washes it out every time you have one of these big rains. And,
I think it'll depend on what it looks like, whether we can build a shoulder there or not.
Okay. You don't have much to work with. There's a big bank, then there's a ditch, and then the road. It's going to be hard. Thank you.
One of them countywide projects.
There you go. There you go. Come on in, Dr. Rock.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you, David.
I'll go this way.
Musical podium.
Yeah, there you go. We didn't have the music.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You just that thing to,
Yeah.
I'll be good.
There you go.
Steve, just give you a few updates. We are doing well with keeping kids in and the number of cases. It's once a week formally, probably 3 or 4 times a week with our health district. And I have to say, and I know you guys have applauded them before, I talk to superintendents all over the state. Wow. Our health district has our 5 school divisions, and they do so much for us. Most school divisions are looking to hire outside firms to do contact tracing. Our 5 nurses are exceptional, and then the health district follows behind. So it's keeping this community as healthy as possible. So, and you can't argue with, we have a very good attendance rate, and we're keeping kids in, we're not having to close. So
Everything's rolling pretty normal. Like I said, the biggest bump was getting that parking lot done so we have enough spaces, and the LED lights are up, which is very inexpensive to run. So it's a beautiful spot out there. So we're good with that, and we'll continue. I think I will say that we're finally having the field dedication ceremony this Friday at 5:30 for Coach Bill. It was approved last year, but obviously with COVID, so we're going to have a formal one at 5:30. Be good to come out, and hopefully we'll have a few good surprise guests. Coach Bill's been doing it a long time against some other Hall of Famers, so it's going to be very nice to be able to do that. Like I said last night, Coach Bill wants it early because he doesn't want to take anything away from the ball game. It's a big ball game for him. So. But we're rolling. We're behind on the collaboration center, but the blessing that we have is we're not displaced. And there's 2 phases. So we're behind on the first phase. Doesn't have a huge impact, except maybe on the contract, which you got Erica Sunshine who stays on that. It doesn't impact from us school-wise. I think the negative impact comes to the company, who will lose money if they don't stay on time. And Erica Sunshine does a great job of that. So, but we'll get to this first phase. The second phase, which is next January, is the one. We'll see where we go. The good thing is we have materials. The bad thing is they can't keep workers continuously like everybody else. But the report we get from Thompson Litton, they're working on a few school construction. Ours is going along the smoothest and the best, and staying within. So we're going to continue with that, and if the HVAC is rolling too. You had the approved payment there for our ESSER. Our ESSER funds are going to predominantly, and our board knows this, be used for the other elements that were taken out. These other elements are old. 2 of them have already broken. The controls that we had to replace at Willis, the controls at Floyd E, which create a more conducive environment as far as consistency with the air, and the makeup air units, which will be part of that, and that's a big part. That'll be going in. The time frame on that is pretty flexible as we go through with the ESSER funds, but the beauty of that, they were already engineered. So we don't have to go back and have a study done or anything. They're engineered. So that's going well, and that's going smooth, and we'll keep trying to utilize the state relief money and the federal relief money. And like I said, ours is mostly predominantly putting this back in. And then we'll continue to look at some other long-term projects if there is some other infrastructure money that will be available. So that's where we are with that. So you have any questions on the construction projects?
Yeah, I was wondering, did the HVAC company, apart from our upgrades with the ESSER funds, did they have a clause in their contract that they didn't finish by a certain time?
That would be a Dan Baronato question, but I don't think they did.
Okay.
Part of it is they worked when they could,
Right.
to not disrupt the education,
Right.
not disrupt school. So it was pretty hard to put one in, kind of like a freestanding CCD area.
Right.
So they really didn't. The beauty of it is you want cooling air when it's hot, we got it. We want heat when it's cold, we got it. And especially the first 2 where the boilers were gone, that we put those in 2 years ago.
Right, and one of the other comments was that they didn't anticipate the age of the buildings and how it was gonna affect, did I understand that right?
I don't think so. I think part of it is the things that were taken out.
Right.
Did affect the engineering. We have probably 14 rooms that are corner rooms, that the units that they put in, the coils were not big enough
Right,
We're
that was
going
for
back.
the air, right?
That was for the air, the heating.
Oh, the heating.
That
Okay.
was for the heating, so we're going back and we're paying for that upgrade on those 14
Okay.
rooms. I don't think there's anything as far as the age of the building. I mean, when they did it, they knew.
They
We
knew,
haven't
right.
we haven't ran into any problems, all the ACs. Once we get the controls in all the schools, you know, teachers will have that 4-degree control, whatever they do, but it's, I mean, it's exceptional. The difference is unbelievable. The difference is also unbelievable because there's no coal dust in there.
Yeah.
I mean, the difference is amazing from that standpoint. And
I think everybody all over town is gonna be grateful.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, yeah.
oh, it's that was good. And then we get the makeup airs in, we get the bipolar ionization for the air cleaning, and that's forever. I mean, that's
Yep.
pandemic or not, that's a very healthy thing.
Absolutely.
I believe the tree helped the kids to get back to school. Because I know my granddaughter's tickled to death, you know.
Well, with everything that's going on in this country, kids do an unbelievable job.
Yep, they do.
They just do.
better than we do. in a
They
lot of
do.
ways.
There's no question.
They really do.
And, yeah, I give them credit for that. They do better than I do. And, you know, as we talked before, we have a lot of things that we have to do, and it's going to continue. The bottom line is we need to do what we got to do to keep these kids in school and serve them. And so we'll continue to do that, and we'll continue to do that, and make sure we're following the law. We don't have a choice. And
Get anything?
Thank you for what you do, sir.
well,
And the
I
school board.
appreciate y'all. We're moving. We've gotten a lot accomplished in these past 5 years, and because of y'all and because of the cooperation. And like I said, you'll see some more supplemental come through just like that as these projects come and the ESSER funds get freed. So that'll increase, and then we're continuing with some little projects that you'll see, probably a few small ones from the capital improvement, just so we can get a sidewalk done here, so we can get that whole walkway from our new parking lot to the new gym there and get all that up to a safe level. And then maybe next spring, we'll talk about that road when it comes through, and we'll see exactly what the best thing to do is with VDOT.
There you go.
So I think that'll be a good thing, but it's coming along. All right.
Thank you.
Call, like I said, call me anytime. Come and eat lunch at the schools anytime. You guys holler, and you're welcome to visit anyone. And
Maybe we can get back on the schedule with
Yeah,
I tell
that,
you.
either next month or whatever.
you can do it. I'd look at the menu, see which ones you like, so you can pick the right day.
Oh,
I'll let you know when the all-you-can-eat buffet's up.
Thank you.
he knows this, doesn't he?
I don't see no constitutional officers.
You need a cup?
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, we need to take a break before we go into closed session anyway.
And we still have other items. that
Yeah, we have a couple on the back.
Several action items. They could probably be pretty quick if you.
Okay.